I was still writing late at night, even though I was retired from the military. I was doing other things, working for other employers, and was still busy. So I'd write late at night. And when I'd come back to bed late in the evening, if my wife was awake, my dear wife Melanie, I would say, if she moved at all, I'd say, Melanie, take a look at what I've written and give me some feedback, which she did wonderfully. But one night, about several chapters into the book, I came home, I came back to bed, and she moved, and I said, hey, but I didn't say, look at what I've written. I said, Melanie, I don't know what I'm doing with this thing. I don't know who is going to want to read this. It seems like it's nothing but a series of unfortunate events. It's a bunch of bad stuff that happened to a guy, and I just can't imagine anybody wants to read this. She didn't hesitate. She said, Bill, you need to finish this book. She said, I know the whole story. I know how it ends. I know that it's a story of hope and courage. It's a story that is motivational. I think it's going to be motivational for people who face difficulties in life, and possibly inspirational, and go get your book done. So I did. I went back and wrote it and finished it. But her comments caused me to do a few things with the book. One, and I was always weird about this when I started writing, I didn't want this to be just my story. I wanted it to tell the story of this different experience, this different perspective, but I wanted it to tell that broad story. So one thing that I did in relating the events that happened to me, I also share the stories of the other prisoners of war captured in South Vietnam and Laos through our conversations that we had when I met those guys. My work with NATO is working with NATO Special Operations Forces in leadership development. That grew out of some work that I did after retirement. When I got my doctoral degree, I was for a time on the staff, on the faculty of the U.S. Army School of Advanced Military Studies at Fort Leavenworth, where we got into leadership big time. When I left that, came out to the West Coast, I did the same or similar things for Stryker Brigade combat teams at Fort Lewis, and then had an opportunity about 6 years ago to be part of a leadership program for NATO Special Operations, which, based on my limited special operations support experience in Vietnam, I jumped at. And the work that we do principally and very simply is to take NATO Special Operations operators, guys who are NATO Special Operations guys, who are masters at the tactical situation. They can do raids, they can do snatches, they do all the things that you read about Special Forces guys doing, Special Operations guys doing. And the leadership program that I'm involved in tries to take them from, and we get them mid-grade officers, senior non-commissioned officers, to take them from that tactical mastery and bring them up to a level of operational and strategic excellence, where they can perform in higher levels of special operations commands and on higher levels of staff, quite simply, is what I do.